Good evening. I'd like to open a meeting. Mr. Karati?
Mr. Accomando?
Present.
Mrs. Borelli?
Present.
Mr. Cipollone?
Present.
Mr. Quinn?
Present.
Mrs. Robinson?
Here.
Sanchez?
She's here.
Mr. Winnie?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mrs. Zottarelli?
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen County Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Vashika.
Good evening and welcome. I'd just like to start with a moment of silence for the loss of one of our students, Brooke Costanzo. So if you please just keep her family and her in your prayers and in your thoughts. So again, a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And again, I want to thank everybody that came to the vigil last week. That meant a lot. And it was good to see the community, unfortunately, under terrible circumstances, but the community came together and was proud of everybody and proud of everybody sitting at this table. So to better days. All right, so we move on now. Superintendent's report. I promised you that I would do a little bit of information on the action plans that were written. If you recall, we have 4 goals that we wrote with Matt Lee. We worked together in August. So what I'd like to do is, I'm not going to do all 4. I'm just going to concentrate on goal 1 because there are about 8 categories within it. So I'll go through it quickly just to give you an update where we are. Hopefully I can do goal 2 on Wednesday. And then what I'll do is in January do goals 3 and 4. And then we can revisit it February and March again, just to make sure we're in a good place. All right? So, District Goal 1, continue to offer parent education programs to help build closest homeschool partnership with a specific focus on academic topics and measured by number of programs and parent attendance and evaluation. So, the first one has got to do with the new report cards that we're using. So I'd just like to share the information as to what was available to parents. First, in regards to the report card info, email broadcast was sent to parents on September 24th, including the family meeting that took place on October 3rd. This was a district-wide explanation on the standards-based report cards. In addition, signs at each school were posted or put on their front message boards. Reminders were sent to PTO, PTA members. Presentation at the back-to-school nights at each elementary school. Additional presentations before the Board of Education. And also, I think it was Franklin School, did it where they, she had it before the PTO meeting. She did a presentation, and then Ms. Violetti also did one at the end of the meeting if anyone missed it. So we keep trying to out there, and also it's online, so everybody can take a look at it. Area 2 of 1 is the Boost program. That's our program under Title I. The only 2 schools that fall into that category will be Franklin and Smith. So there was a presentation based on the eligibility of parents for the Title I programs for their children. Currently, that went very well. Franklin School has 46 students enrolled, and Smith School has 47 students enrolled in these programs. They're available in the morning and after school, and currently we have approximately 40 staff members that are teaching in the program. The math and reading programs are ongoing for the elementary schools. That's number 3. Area 4 for STEM convention. I confirmed the program is scheduled for Wednesday, January 17th. Student and staff displays and presentations will be, I'm thinking it'll probably be in the gym and maybe a little bit in the cafeteria. New for this year would be the presentation taking place in the evening for parents and community as well. Area 5 has to do with the HIB presentations, and there was a HIB presentation just about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, there's only about 13 parents attend these kinds of meetings. I would still like to try to have something on a much larger scale where perhaps, in addition to having some outside people talk about it, we can have one of our attorneys, maybe Keem would be there for us. But we'll see what happens. And then at the presentation, again, there was only 13 people involved, but there were a number of our counselors involved in that program as well. Area 6 talks about English language learners, ELL. Currently, what we've done is we met last week, Mr. Karate, myself, and also with the principal, Jane Ellen Jenkins, to talk about Title III. That's the money that runs those programs. And consequently, what we're trying to do is make a program available for tutoring for not only the students, for the parents as well. We're trying to help the parents. It'll be better communication for the schools and for the kids. So consequently, what we're doing is now starting to look for bilingual instructors to assist in making that program possible. Dr. Santora in Area 7, Special Education, had a CPAC meeting, I believe that was on November 16th, for parents regarding IEPs and the parent input on that. In addition, we did have on our December 2nd, the open house for the preschool programs. We had approximately 25 families in attendance, and one of our board members, Angela, was there and did a nice job. And we were very happy. We had over 50 people attend that meeting for that presentation. Area 8 elementary programs is something, they run all kinds of activities, but more specifically, they do so many things that I want each one of the schools to write up a separate report for us to look at and understand the types of things that are going on, because it is some very exciting things that are happening there. And again, they're educationally based. They're based on math, language arts, and other areas, so I'm happy to report that. Okay, so that takes care of Goal 1. I'm not going to speak anymore because we do have a guest speaker tonight. Somebody would like to talk to the board from school boards. I'd like to introduce Mr. Bruce Young from Bergen County School Boards, who will, little presentation. Do you want a microphone or?
No,
You're good?
I don't think I need the microphone.
Okay.
My name is Bruce Young. I'm president of the Bergen County School Boards Association, and I was also honored as School Board Member of the Year this year, which was a great honor. I'm here today to speak about Bergen County School Boards Association. A lot of our training that we have with school boards will take you down to Trenton and Princeton. One of the better places for you to get training and to get to talk to other board members from the 77 districts here in Bergen County is to come to the county meetings. I know there was a few of you that was just at the one we had in Hasbrook Heights, and it talked about social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all of that, the do's and the don'ts. I saw that program down in South Jersey with Steve Fogarty, and I said we got to have that program here in Bergen, and it was a very good turnout, and I think everybody enjoyed it. There will be a new board member training coming up January 5th through the 7th. That's going to be in Princeton. The Bergen County School Board next meeting is going to be in Glen Rock High School, and this is where we're going to do our breakout sessions. We're going to do a breakout session for new school board members. We're going to do breakout sessions for the negotiations. We're all going to be going into those negotiations very shortly. And we're going to be doing a leadership training program at the same time. With that, school boards is now going to do a 3-day leadership training down in the Princeton Marriott. It's going to be April 20th through April 22nd. Now, it's not just for presidents and vice presidents that are sitting now. It's anybody who's up and coming, who wants to be a leader on your Board of Education, or be part of the county, or be part of the state. So it's open to all board members in the state of New Jersey. We've had this program before. It was well received, and the monies are coming in to be able to afford to do that now. And I do want to say that our dues have not gone up in over 6 years. So they continue getting the monies for that. So the Glen Rock will be January 31st. Registration will start at 6, and then right after that, we'll have dinner. And then we'll go into the program right after that. We will also do a joint meeting with Bergen and DeSalle. I've been doing this for 26 years as a board member. And every time we go to the legislative breakout in Bergen County, we get 3, maybe 4 state legislators that come to the meeting. And by the time they explain who they are and what they do, there's no more time for questions. So what I've done this year is we're going to partner with DeSalle County because some of our county Bergen legislators do feed into, I think it's District 36 and District 40. So they're part of that organization as well. We're going to have an upwards of 12 state legislators. But this time, we're going to ask Ray Penny to not have them tell us what they do, because we already know what you do. You're a state legislator. So we're going to hopefully get questions from you guys, the boards here in Bergen County, so that they can have the questions ahead of time and make the process go a little bit quicker. So that's what we're trying to do there. Now, that's going to be March 29th, and that'll be at the infamous Maggiano's. That also will be a 6 p.m. registration, and then dinner to follow, and then we'll have the panel discussion with our state legislators. Now, usually we get a Republican and a Democrat, so if we have a Republican that gets the question and we want to do a follow-up with a Democrat, we'll allow that. So, another interesting program that the state is putting on is analyzing salary guides. It's one of the hardest things you can do as a board member, figuring out salary guides for your staff and your teachers and so on and so forth. So that's another good program. It's going to be March 23rd. It'll be down in West Trenton. It'll be from 9 o'clock to 4 p.m. That's March 23rd. So I ask you all if you can make the county meetings. We'd be glad to have you. I've given you all my card, my cell phone, email. If you have any questions, and I know your new board members have not come up on yet, so if they have any questions, just give them my information and try to help them out as best we can. All right? So, thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
So I just want to make sure I got that Maggiano's date right, March 29th? Is that it?
Yes, got it written down.
Okay. Who caters that one?
March 29th. Yeah, March 29th.
All right.
Well, let me ask you,
Thank you. Sure.
how many of you like Maggiano's? Because I did a study at our first meeting, and I had 3 people that didn't like
No?
Maggiano's.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
All right.
There were less Heights, and I missed Heights this year, but I thought Heights was better than that.
Did you? A lot of people are saying that.
Not like Maggiano's, but I thought Heights was better.
Well, Maggiano's is difficult because of the parking.
Oh, yeah, it's true, too,
You know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But even the Heights can be a little bit
Crowded, yeah.
Hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Couple of other things I just wanted to mention here. I don't have the names, and I'm sure the students will go over this on Wednesday night when they come, but we had 11 of our vocal students were successful in their auditions with the All Bergen County Chorus, so very happy for those 11 students. I'm sure, as I said, their names will be shared. And other good things going on is, well, I don't know if it's good, but I did spend my morning today along with, again, Ms. Jenkins, Ms. Coffey, and Ms. Salma at the CUSAC training program over at Bergen Community College. It was quite intense. They went over all the areas with the DPRs that I had explained in the past. We do not have a date yet for when they're coming in. I did ask, but they said tomorrow. I said, okay, as long as I'm there, it's fine. But they do plan on letting us know within the next week or so. So hopefully you can get that. But it's going to be, it's quite extensive. There's the instruction and program, which is the biggest component of all of it, followed by our by the finances piece, which I'm sure we'll do fine with. But again, it's just a lot of work, a lot of information that we have to dig out and move on with. So just wanted to give you an update on that. Okay, so moving, can I move on to the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, did you have something?
No.
Okay. All right, so on the agenda items, let's start with A on student services. You can cover 1 through 4 for the outside service providers. Questions?
Any discussion?
Through the chair, just on the clubs, I know there are clubs and there are, do they still need permission slips for those trips?
Yeah, we like to have them because they still belong to the school.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to B, curriculum instruction technology program. There are a number of field trips. Please note that number 341, pulling that one, I want more information, so we'll revisit that in January. .341, volleyball trip. No questions? Moving on to numbers 2, 3, and 4.
2, to get into a little more detail. What the board members have in front of you, the public has near the agenda the synopsis of audit, which is a very real basic summary of the district's funds, gives a balance sheet, revenues and expenditures, and then the back 2 pages are the audit comments. So that's a real watered-down version of the whole report. The next report is the smaller one, the beige cover that the board has. That's the auditor's management report, which, when you have time, you can go through this. There's 14 pages, and it goes through all the items that they did the audit on, and, comments, what they found, what was in order, so forth. You'll see where the comments fit into there. So this is a good report to also follow up on. And then the larger report is the comprehensive annual financial report. This is the financial report of the district, and it has, details of every fund, notes to financial statements, a narrative in the front, and a lot of stuff to go through. This one, it's very detailed, but you just should take time to just, skim through it. Mr. Lurch from Lurch, Finstein, Higgins will be here on January 8th to review the report. We have to accept this tonight. I mean, there's nothing you could do with it. It's the final report is already submitted to the state, but the board has to accept it within a certain amount of days, and January 8th will not make that time frame. So you have time to look at it. He'll be here to answer your questions. I send you an email with the 3 comments, if I just may briefly comment on them. Last year had no comments, this year I have 3. So there are interfunds, monies that are owed between the different funds. Now, most of the money is in one bank account, so it's not too much of money in one account or the other. It's just a number on the balance sheet that has to get transferred, so they didn't want me to take care of them. The second one was, something I'm not pretty upset about, is that we have a lot of changes in benefits, people coming on, people leaving, and when they leave in between, not at a cutoff time in June or something, and they have a tentative date of when they're going to be released. This one person was left on the health and dental benefits. I'm trying to recoup the funds. I was pretty successful in the dental, but through the state, it's going to be tough to get those funds back. So I have our current payroll person going down and reviewing all the benefits to make sure they coincide with the payroll registers and the invoices from the state. And the final one on the bottom is part of our referendum that we approved in December 2014. There were some grant funds. Now that the projects are all winding down, because it was all commingled between state grant money and debt service aid, I could file for it. There's a lot of paperwork involved in filing to recoup these funds, but I will be working on that one to get that done. So those are the 3 comments they found, but if you look, again, in the Auditor's Management Report and of all the areas that they cover, it's not too bad, but I'm not too happy about having audit comments. So again, look through them. I know I just gave this to you now, but look through it, and if January, if you have any more additional questions, again, Mr. Lurch will be here to answer them.
Okay.
So if you have any questions in between, you could always email or call me.
Thank you, Mr. Karati. Business and Board C, again, we want to look through the workshops. In number 1, so you have 8 that are in that section. No questions? Any questions? Okay, let's proceed. Well, 2 we just spoke about, but 2 through number 7. Any additional questions?
Question, what's number 6? What is that all about?
Oh, the memorandum of agreement is between law enforcement and us. This is something that's been in the state probably for about 15 years now. And consequently, it's something that we have a plan that we put together, and it states our emergency management people and their people and contact information. It even goes as far to other towns. So for instance, if we have, and it basically happened because of things that happen at proms occasionally. So if there's a student that gets in trouble or arrested even in one of the neighboring towns, or again, down by the shore or something, that police department can share the information with our police department, and then we can deal with it here in the school as well if we have to, based on what the infractions were. So that's the memorandum of agreement, so that we're all working in concert. They were supposed to come out with a new form for that, and they haven't done it yet. So what they're requesting is that we just review our current document, which is in pretty good shape, and just make any changes as far as any names if we have somebody else that's in charge of any type of security pieces that have been changed and so forth. But it's that memorandum of agreement. It's just between us and the police department. So make sure that we're all on the same page. So consequently, what I'm waiting for is, it's all ready. I just want to review it, and the chief is going to sign. I believe we have 5 or 6 pages that need to be signed. I no longer have to send the plan to the state, only the side documentation that it's been reviewed. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay. Policies?
I don't think there was any.
Nothing.
Nothing on policy, committees? We have any committee? We have any committee reports?
Well,
No.
I don't think there's anything
No.
saying yet.
No.
Okay. Correspondence. Whole business.
Under old business, in front of the board members is the final signed team charter, and is also posted to the website.
Thank you, Mr. Karati. New business?
Yeah, the only thing I would like to mention, because it's coming up in 2 days, 3 days, is the middle school concert will take place here on Thursday, the 14th. I believe it starts at 7, so that will be the band and chorus, and also the high school concert will take place the following Thursday, the 21st. Again, band and chorus at the high school level. So if you're free, try to join us in one of those concerts, and you can see that we actually spent money on a couple of decorations to brighten up the auditorium. So thank you, Mr. Karati, for letting me shop at Home Depot. That's so, all right, and that's basically all I have.
Okay. Like to open the meeting to the public? Okay. Residents are requested to state their names, address, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5-minute durations. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comment made by a member of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Ms. Higgins.
Amy Higgins, 228 Sahara River Road. It's been a while, about 2 years, which is good for you guys because that means I've been happy. The first thing I just want to say is I think that the tribute that they did the other night for Brooke was phenomenal. I think everybody did a great job, and I want to commend the staff for everything that they did for the students, because my son was affected by it too, and they did a great job. And it really felt good that everybody was able to come together and help everybody out. Another issue that I have, my son has a tree nut allergy. And in the beginning of November, shortly after, I think it was a day or two after Halloween, he was using a Chromebook in one of the classes, and he broke out in a rash on his hands. He touched his face, he broke out in a rash, he touched his arm. The school responded. I'm not knocking the response of the school. The nurse did her job. I took him to the allergist, and they believe it was a contact reaction. Somebody who ate nuts before him touched it, and he touched it, causing him a reaction. That being said, I brought him back to school, and Mrs. Rabe and Mrs. Trier did whatever they could. They went to the classrooms, wiped down anything he had to touch. Mr. Gelber did a fabulous job. He had the janitors clean every room that my son was going to be in, which was great. Now, I don't know if any of you have anybody with a tree nut allergy or a food allergy, but once you have a reaction, you're very susceptible for about 7 days thereafter. Like, he couldn't get his flu shot. We had to be careful with him coming in contact with anything else. That being said, the very next day, he was in class, and I am not attacking a substitute, I am not attacking a student, I am just trying to bring a situation to light. The very next day, he was in class, and either the child next to him in one of his classes or a seat over from that was eating during class and was eating nuts. My son asked him to put it away. There's arguing back and forth whether the kid did it right away or not, whether it was out for 30 seconds or whether it was out for 5 minutes. It's like a weapon. And because he was susceptible after the first attack, he got up and left the classroom. Called me and said, I'm fine. But he was, I don't know, taking him to the hospital in an ambulance the first time it ever happened is scary, and he remembers that. So all I'm trying to say is, because I know people are accusing me, I don't want anybody fired, I don't want any child punished. I just wish that there could be something stressed to the parents again. I know you can't frisk people. I know there's really nothing you can do but say to everybody, listen, they should not be eating in class. Please try to avoid bringing it to school. I'm not saying they shouldn't have class parties, because when it's a room, our cafeteria is not free, but when it's a room where there's food, my son's old enough to know, I don't know what that is, I'm not touching it. But something like this was something that was kind of out of his control. The touching of the Chromebook, which they can't say 100% that's what it is, but that's what the allergist said. It was a contact, something that he touched, and it was severe enough for me to have to bring him in. So I don't know. Dave Gelber was I think you guys were having a teacher's workshop shortly after that. He was going to bring it up to the staff. I don't know if anything was even brought to your attention, but I think something needs to be brought out to the public that, if you don't have a child with it, you're not thinking about it. But if you have a child that has an allergy, it's very scary. So I would just appreciate if we could somehow reiterate to parents that, and to the students, just don't eat in class. Don't bring it to school if you can. I know that certain kids are very picky with what they eat, but eating should be done in the cafeteria. Eating should not be done, like I said. And the point is now that he can't, will have him wipe down the area. He can't wipe down his own area. He's not supposed to touch it.
Yeah.
So, what is it now? Every teacher's going to have to wipe down everything he's got to touch? I mean, we had to wipe down the gym because he was in the weight room for gym. If everybody would just be mindful, or if you're going to eat it, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Or wipe the thing yourself if you know you ate it. But I don't know what you can actually do, and I really don't want to be that parent that tells people that they can't. But it's scary. It's very, very, and in 2 days in a row, to have to be called was tragic enough. My third point that I want to bring up, hearing that Mrs. Coffey is no longer vice principal of the middle school, and now Dave Gelbert leaving. I don't know the reasoning. I'm hearing stories. I'm not trying to hash any of that out. I'm up here today because am I the only person that's worried that we can't keep administration in this school system? I mean, my daughter graduated in 2015. In Smith School, we went through Mrs. Gaynor, Dr. Honorado, Mr. Crassi, Mr. Grosso. Then you had an interim. Now you have somebody, I understand. We still don't have a regular superintendent, which this is nothing against your performance, but I was on the committee to hire Dave Gelbert. I was also on the committee to hire John Lawler. Dave Gelbert, he's a phenomenal, he interviewed phenomenally. I was a substitute caller for a year. I worked very close with him, back and forth emails on the phone. He has done such a great job with some of the issues that my son has had and some of his friends have had. And I think we are at such a loss to lose somebody like him. But what I'm trying to say is, when do we decide, okay, something's wrong? Shouldn't we, I don't want it on my dime, I really don't want to have an investigation done where my taxes have to go up and pay for it, but shouldn't something be done? Shouldn't somebody be contacted to say, hey, listen, let's start bringing some of these administrators in, past administrators, and ask them, because it can't all be about money. Because you took the job knowing what the salary is, knowing what the increased rate of pay is, so you don't get another job unless you're looking for another job. So why are we hiring people and all of a sudden everybody's finding other places to go? I just can't understand why we can't keep somebody in the district. And you get a lot of my tax dollars, and I just want to see it spent right. I've been very happy with the progress we've made in this district. Like I said, I used to be at every meeting, eyes would roll when I would stand up, and I've been happy. I've liked the changes that I've seen. But now, I feel like we're taking 10 steps back again. My son's going to graduate, and my son's a sophomore. By the time we hire somebody, and you get some, after next year, by senior year, he's done. So any changes that happen really aren't going to impact my child as much anymore. But it's going to impact the district itself, people coming into the town. My niece's husband just finished being certified to be a superintendent. And I said, hey, why don't you apply here? He goes, oh no, you guys are a big joke. He goes, we've all talked about it, and they laugh about it, that nobody wants to come to this district. I have friends who are principals, and they say the same thing. It's like we're cursed. Is there anything we can do to try to find out what is so wrong? Have you asked anybody that you've interviewed that, well, actually everybody you've interviewed has actually wanted the job. I really would like to find out why everybody wants to leave. I mean, I hope I'm not being out of...
No, that's fine. If I just say we have no control over it, there is nothing grossly dysfunctional. In the case of Ms. Coffey, she's promoted to a higher position. We've already hired somebody to take our place. Until that person gets here, she's kind of doing double duty here with that. Mr. Gelber was looking to go somewhere else. That's his own personal option. In some cases, has to do with distance that people are traveling, and, certainly, I think that's something that, I know in at least 2, maybe 3 cases, that's an issue. That was an issue, and I think when you interview and you look at people, you have to say, this person's driving X amount of miles to get here every day, and then something comes up closer to home for more money. It makes it difficult. So that happens sometimes. As far as being a joke, I don't know as much anymore. I've had people come to me to ask me about positions in the district, especially for my position not my position as an interim, but the person that come in here, and, question it. And I think in the past there was some negativity here, but there has definitely been growth, and we want to stay on that track. But I cannot pinpoint anything. When I sit down with my administrators, the team gets along fine. At times there are going to be differences. That's normal, but there's nothing.
Nothing
Totally.
that's actually being told to you.
Well,
Of
but
course,
still,
honestly,
I'm a good judge of character.
But honestly,
That's right.
I'm not
But-
saying that you're not, but having been on several of the committees to
Yeah.
hire some of the administrators,
Okay.
some of those questions were asked because some of the people that applied for the jobs were coming really far distances, and it was asked, why would you want to come this far? to a job here?
I've never
So-
seen that work for more than 3 years. And
I
so-
understand, but
But then we're not going to certainly blame it on all that. I'm not
but like I
gonna.
said, I personally feel there's some underlying issue going on that maybe we're not being told. You don't always tell your boss everything, you don't always, you hide things. Something's got to be going on because this is ridiculous. It is.
I'm trying.
Harold, I know you, no, and it's, I'm not.
No, I know, I'm just saying
It's
that.
not any one person
Yeah,
up here's fault.
okay.
It's
But,
nobody's,
yeah.
because it's been happening since before some of you have even
Yeah,
gone here.
well, that's part of the problem. It does have that reputation of being a place that's kind of a stop-off. So if someone's becoming something new, you go work there for 2 or 3 years, and then you move on. We're trying to lock that up and make it better since things have changed in the district, and hopeful that people come in here and take a sense of pride and stick with the district. And that's the goal. That really is the goal. I can't pinpoint anything right now, but it is a concern. I'm not going to tell you it's not a concern. It is. When I hear these people moving on, it's very disturbing for me because here I am thinking I'm working with a good team and getting things done, and then it's like somebody pulls the rug out from underneath you because you have to start again. And it's frustrating. And I certainly don't want to see a new superintendent, come into that pattern. So that's that piece of it. But the other piece I want to go back to is your son's health, which is extremely important to all of us. I think what we can do at the very least is place something on the district website as a reminder to all parents and
I
to
appreciate
students.
that.
All right? And then if there's something else that we can do as far as a mailing or something else, we'll try to get that out there as well, because that is very important. Okay? No one's health should be put online coming to school. There's enough things to deal
Right.
with just by the normal occurrence of things going on. But certainly, the allergies are very important. And as you said, in the cafeteria, there are designated areas. In a classroom, if there is a party going on, it's certainly there's a student in middle school or high school knows that, I shouldn't really be here. Or if I am going to be here and I'm not really sure what's in there, what the ingredients are, I'm not touching it. And again, the frustrating piece for I think all of us is the fact that we don't know who touches things at different times. So you can have a student that did have something in the cafeteria, goes to the next class, didn't wash his hands, as you said, and they touch something and it creates a problem. So bottom line is we try to get the awareness out there. That's the
And
bottom line, okay?
That's all I appreciate. That.
Thanks, Ms. Higgins, I appreciate it, okay?
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay. Like to close the meeting? Second. Okay. Who was the second? Timmy. Okay, we're going to go to closed session. We're going to recess to close executive session to discuss personnel, HIB investigations, contract negotiations, and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege per NJSA 10-46, Open Public Meetings Act. The subject matter discussed may be disclosed to the public, and if and when need is, or for confidentiality no longer exists, Actions may be taken by the board in reconvening open session. Can I get a motion? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.